Hello and welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today sees a return to the channel of an old friend of ours. This puzzle on the screen is called Two-Face, and it's by Mr.Menace. And this harks back, I presume, to one of my favourite films of all time. Would it be my top 5 films of all time? It might be. The Dark Knight, where Harvey Two-Face Dent, of course, plays a starring role. And I think I sort of see what's going on there. I think this is a nose, this sort of triangle shape. And the left-hand side, you can see it's got a very different, well, the colours are different, the lines are slightly different. So if we draw a line of symmetry down column 5, you can see that this left side of the face is different from the right side. It's something like that. And I presume Mr. Menace must be a Batman fan in order to have come up with this. The testers say this is lovely, by the way. Not too difficult today. So if you like your sudokus slightly, well, less difficult than monstrous, then this might be one for you. It involves a new type of line. I don't know if I've ever seen this type of line before. I think I must have done, but basically the red lines are called, well, they're parity lines. So if this cell was odd, that cell would be even, that would be odd, that would be even, etc. So they oscillate parity as you move along the line. I probably have seen something like that before, but I can't immediately recall it. Anyway, I'll read you the rules properly in a moment or two. What do I have to do today before that? I want to do some birthdays. So, Callum, I think you've turned 23 today. And I know this because your girlfriend Susie up there in Glasgow wrote to us. I understand you've both been, well, you've been going out together for the last 6 years, and she described you as a wonderful boyfriend. So well done for that, Callum, and I hope you have lots of chocolate cake today. Next, Jamie. Jamie, it's your birthday. I know this because your partner Megan wrote to us. And Megan, I fully approve of the style of your Christmas presents. So for those of you who don't know, which should presumably be quite a lot of you, yeah, Megan made a puzzle as a Christmas present. It was sort of a prime number type crossword thing. And yeah, very cool indeed. So Jamie, I hope you have a great birthday. And then finally, Ethan. I know it's your birthday today. You've turned 8 years old because your dad George wrote to us. And I think you're down there near Houston in Texas. I hope I've got this right. And in fact, your birthday may have been yesterday, and if that's right, I apologise for being slightly late with these congratulations. But Ethan, I can tell you this: your dad is so proud of you, and I understand you're something of a math genius, and that is something I like to hear. And your favourite type of Sudoku is killer Sudoku. I feel guilty now because one of the puzzles that was slated or for me to have a go at today was a killer Sudoku. So I had a choice of 2, and I decided to go for this one because we haven't done a Mr. Menace puzzle on the channel for about 6 months, and that is completely and utterly negligent of us. And the constructor of the other puzzle has appeared relatively recently. I'm not saying we're not going to do that other puzzle. I'm very tempted to indeed, especially Ethan, if it will be a nice birthday present for you. So yeah, keep an eye on the channel the next 2 or 3 days, and hopefully you might see a killer Sudoku. We shall see. Now, what else do I have to tell you about? Well, Jay Dyer's Numerical Alchemy Sudoku Hunt. The competition has now finished. We have had hundreds and hundreds of correct entries. Not just people who have solved the first 5 puzzles, which is a feat in and of itself, but people who have solved all 15 puzzles. Now that is so such good solving. I tell you, that is hours and hours and hours of dedication to achieve. So I want to I've already congratulated some people right when the hunt was released. So the speedy guys and girls have all been congratulated already. So I'm going to start with the next slug of correct solvers. So Woo-Sung Jung, Brett Gator, Kelvin Graham, Balint Rago, Jorg Volketsetter, Leon Zhang, Daryl Gilbert, Nicholas Ohl, RJ Powers, Matt Boss, Toshi Kato, Eric Maxwell, Jeff Frank, Ozzy Carl, and Nathan Cook. you sent in the correct answer. Very well done indeed. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, well, this is our Patreon pages, basically. People who support the channel on Patreon, which is a couple of bucks a month, get access to all sorts of extra puzzles and videos and goodies, and we thank you so much to all of you who support us there. And yeah, the J Dyer hunt is the current flavour of the month, and I think on the 1st of February we have a Glum Hippo hunt coming up for you, so look out for that coming soon. Now, what are the rules of Two-Face by Mr.Menace? Here we go. We've got normal Sudoku, rules apply. Cells containing a grey square must contain even digits. So we've got 5 of those. Look, we're given 5 even parities straight off the bat. Along a red line, digits must alternate parity, brackets. So if the first digit is odd, the next digit must be even, etc. So along red lines, we've got to alternate odds and evens as we move along the line. And the sum of the digits along a blue line must be the same total n within each 3x3 box the line passes through. So the blue lines are region sum lines. Now, what does that mean? There is an example. It says, e.g., row 8, column 6, which is that cell. Let's highlight that cell. Terrible choice of colour. Let's highlight it in a different colour. Is equal to, so whatever this cell is equal to row 8, column 7 plus row 7, column 7. So it's equal to those two. And that in turn is equal to row 6, column 8 plus row 5, column 8 plus row 5, column 9. Right, so let's examine this blue line here. You can see it passes through this box, this 3x3 box, but only in this cell. It passes through this 3x3 box, but only in these 2 cells. And it passes through this 3x3 box in those 3 cells. And we must make sure that the sum of those 3 is equal to the sum of those 2 is equal to the sum of that one. So let's do another one. The sum of those 2 is going to be equal to that, is going to be equal to the sum of those 2, etc., etc. Do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And I suspect this is going to be a colouring exercise. And if it is, well, what we're going to do is we're going to be trying to decide odds and evens. Now, I know from experience that our blue colour and our orange colour are the best for people who watch the channel and who suffer from colour blindness, and even people who make the videos and suffer from colour blindness like yours truly. So I'm going to be using orange for odd digits because they both begin with O, and blue for even digits. So actually I'm going to completely bluify these straight away. Now, okay, I'm going to go further than that. 2 is even, 1, 3 and 9 are odd. Now let's take a look first at the region sum lines. Right, I'm going to look at that digit, I think, because those 3 digits all have to be different. And therefore you can see the minimum sum of those 3 digits would be 7. If we made these 1, 2 and 4, they would sum to 7. So this digit has to be at least equal to 7. These 2 cells now have to sum up to at least 7. The triangle shape, the nose of Harvey Two-Face Dent, has 2 of each parity on it, doesn't it? Because if that's even, oh, that's quite No, I was just noticing that because this oscillates parity, if this cell was even, that cell would be even, and then in column 5 we would have had our full quota of even digits, because between the numbers 1 and 9 inclusive there are 4 even digits, 2, 4, 6 and 8. So if we could establish that either of these was even, the rest of the column would become odd. Oh, that would do magic in the bottom row though. If that was odd, those 2 would be even, and that would be 4 evens in the bottom row. So, the furrowed brow of Harvey has oscillating parity. So, yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? These 4 cells are all the same parity, because whatever parity that one is, we skip a cell and go to this one, and you can see those all have the same parity. Now if that was even, again we'd have all 4 evens in the row, and we get 3 odds down here, which I don't think I could do much with that. Let me just mull that over for a moment or two. That feels powerful, doesn't it? If these were all even, everything else would be odd. So those 2 would be even. So those 3 would obviously be odd because I've made those 4 even. Ah, no, okay, I'm still not getting this, I'm afraid. Okay, in box 5, the combination of Harvey's nose and the blue digit is going to cater for 3 of the 4 even digits. So there's only 1 even digit left for these 2 region sum lines. So okay, so those 2 cells there have opposite parity, I'm going to claim, as a result of that. How on earth am I going to show that? I don't even know if I'm going to show it, to be honest. So all I'm thinking is, if those 4 digits are made up of 3 odd digits and an even digit, one domino must be entirely made up of odd digits. An odd digit and an odd digit add up to an even digit, so one of these is even. And the domino that's going to be an odd and an even digit is going to sum to an odd digit, so one of these is odd. So these are opposite parity. I don't know. I don't think that's... I want to say that's doing something up here, but I'm not... I don't actually think it is it? These are opposite parity. Let's just make those colours for a moment. Say one is one is the other. So these digits, on one side there's going to be an odd and an even, and on the other side there's going to be either 2 odds or 2 evens. So if those were all even, the one that was the same would have to be double odd. I'm so sorry if this is obvious to anybody. Well done, because it is not obvious to me. Okay, I thought this was going to be a walk in the park. It's anything but. It's positively Joker-esque, isn't it? It's... Okay, maybe I've got to... the problem is I can't link the red lines together. So obviously, I say obviously, but I think it's fairly obvious, those 4 cells there have some sort of parity. I don't know whether it's odd or even, and those have the opposite parity. Again, I don't know whether that's odd or even. But the issue I foresee is that if I could then colour all of this red line and all of these red lines with yellow-green parity, that would be quite a good thing to be able to do. But I don't think I can. So each line is sort of mutually exclusive. Maybe I've not got enough from these region sum lines. Is there something? So if okay, so this red line is 2 of each parity. I've got to have a 1 or a 2 on there, or if not both. No, I've got to have a 1 and a 2 actually, haven't I? If I didn't have 1 and 2, let's say I had 1 and then I didn't have 2, I'd have 1, 4, 5. Okay, so that 1, 4 and 5 add up to more than a 1-digit number. So there is a 1 and a 2 on here, which are of opposite parity. Okay, so that means I've got, between those 7 cells, I have 3 of each parity. That equalizes the odds with the evens, in the sense that I know in any box there's always one more odd than even. So this deals with that. Okay, so whatever the extra parity digit is on this line, whatever the third digit is that isn't 1 or 2 on this line, is the opposite parity to that cell. 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 6. Now everything's possible. Ah! What is this puzzle about? Okay, I think what we might have to do is to... I was going to say do some sort of tentative colouring of parity, but it's not even clear where I'm meant to do that. It must be this crown thing, the furrowed forehead, which feels exactly like what I've got at the moment. The furrowed forehead is 4 of the same parity. Let's just make those green. Now, if... And I know that one of these lines has the same parity in both cells, which, if it was green parity, would force the top line to be odd. And if it was whatever the parity of these things is, let's make that yellow. If it's whatever the parity of these is, if this is double green, then green is odd. These are even. And the other line, so if that's double green, this would have to be yellow green, yellow green. I don't know. Or is it these lines somehow? What is going on here? This is confusing me. So... what would happen if... well, if that's green... that's quite interesting. If that's green, I suppose it's the same over here. If that's green, it automatically determines the parity of everything, because you get full green in row... you get 5 green parity digits in row 2, which must then equate green with odd, and you get 4 yellow digits in row 3, which must equate yellow with even. So then you're going to get dark. Oh, hang on, that's broken. Ah, that's broken. Why couldn't I see that before? That's really, really weird. Right, okay, but this doesn't work. That is bizarre. Okay, so it's a combination of, I think it's going to be the same on that side, but let's focus here. It's a combination of the fact that you have oscillating parity in these dominoes and the region sum line situation, where because we have different parity in these two cells, one of these dominoes, let's make these dominoes purple for a moment, one of the purple dominoes is either double even or double odd, which means that if you do complete your quota of, if you make this odd, or if you make that green, which forces green to be odd, the effect of that is also to complete evens in row 3, and then it's not possible for purple to be either parity, because if purple was green, you'd have 6 greens in this row, and if purple's yellow, you'd have 5 evens in row 5, row 3. That's really clever. That's really clever. I'm sure there's a simple way of seeing that, but that is well, that is how I have seen it. So, and this is lovely, I think. Well, I'm not sure how lovely it is, but it definitely means that that's yellow and that's green. And therefore, if we come over to this, I can just apply that logic exactly the same way. That is yellow and that is green. And the weird thing about, I was about to say the weird thing about that is it's got me nothing, but it has got me something. It has, because of course these lines extend into these boxes down here, so we can keep going with this. Those are all yellows, that's become a green. These two are yellows, and that's become a green. So we get a different quota of greens in box 6 compared to box 4. Okay, and I mean, what on earth has that done? Is that 2, 3, 4? Oh no, okay. Or has it? Hang on. I was hoping that was going to be useful in this box, but I'm not sure it is. So this line here, there are 4 cells on the red line in box 4, so that's 2 of each parity. So that, yes, no, this is useful. This is useful. I don't know what it means yet, but it's useful. So there are this foursome here, let's make that purple. That's 2 of each parity. That therefore sort of corrects the count again, in the sense that because I know there's 1 more odd parity in this box compared to even parity overall, I can view the remaining 4 cells as having to be 2 of each parity once we add this odd digit to those 4 purples, which contain 2 odds and 2 evens. So the count for those 5 is 3 odds and 2 evens. So this must be 2 evens and 2 odds. And we've already got 2 yellows, so we must have 2 greens. So that cell has acquired the mantle of greenliness, which means that because this is of the opposite parity to green, that has acquired the mantle of yellowliness. But the thing is, with all of that, do I even know? Do I know more than I did before? Maybe not. So these are 1 of each. Oh, bobbins. I think we're close. It feels like we're getting somewhere. I'm just not sure we've quite got far enough. I've got 3 greens in column 3. I've got 3 yellows. Oh, hang on. No. Do I now know more about this line? I've got... So if yellow was... How can we force this to be too many? I don't think you can, actually. No, I mean, if it's 1, 2, 5, that's got 2 odds in it. That would make that 8. If it's 1, 2, 4 or 1, 2, 6, that makes that 7 or 9. So this still has unresolved parity issues. Okay. Okay. So what do we do now? Those are the same parity, aren't they? It's really close. I feel like this is where the puzzle teeters. It teeters on the brink of letting us know its secrets. Can we... I don't know. I'm desperately trying to figure out how this works. One of these is even, and one of these is odd. So maybe I've got to come back to box 5 again. So this is 2 of each. I've got 1 even, haven't I? And 2 of the... So on one of these dominoes, I've got 2 odd digits. And on the other one, I'm only allowed to have one even digit. That must be close to being. I mean, if yellow was even, these would both have to be odd because we'd have all our evens in this row. So these would all be odd. One of these would be even. No, that's not going to do it either. What about, okay, let's come back to this. Ah, I've done it. That's it. Column 3. Phew. I was thinking I was going mad. I couldn't see how to do this at all. But column 3. This is where we look now. Look, this domino must have one of each parity on it. So if green, so there's going to be a fourth green in this column, in this domino. So if green was even, once you add that even digit in as well, that's 5 greens in the column. That's not going to work. So green is odd. At last, green is odd. So we can make all of those orange. Yellow is even, so we make all of those even. And now we take a stare and see if this... Has this done anything for us? Yes, it has. Right, now column 5 comes to our rescue. Those two cells have the same parity. They can't be even now, so they've got to be odd. Otherwise, we've got too many evens in this column. So those become even. Okie dokie. What now? Can we see anything obvious? So, okay, so let's have a look at this line now, perhaps. We've got 3 of each parity. So there's 2 odd digits now on this line, which means, oh, that's beautiful. There's 2 odd digits on this line. Well, they're not. It can't be 1, 2, and 7, because that would add up to 10. So it must be 1, 2, and 5, which add up to 8. So we get a digit in the grid, which is an even digit. Let's fill that in case that's going to help. Does this... No! No, it doesn't. Oh, bobbins. It would have helped if that was a parity line. Then we'd have had a basic quota of evens in this column here, because there would have been 1 of each there, but we don't have that. That digit is quite restricted by our old friend sudoku, because it can't be 1, 3, or 9. So it's got to be 5 or 7. Ah, 4 even digits in row 4. So that, and that are all odd. Now, has that done something for us? So I know these are 1 of each parity now, because there was only 1 more. Yeah, there's 1 of each parity there. Oh, look, and this little line now has suddenly acquired, we've got this one's parity. Excellent. So we can make all of those orange, all of these blue. I've got all my blues now in this row, so that becomes orange, which is therefore not 2. So this is 1 or 5, isn't it? Because we know that it's not 7. Okay. And this is odd parity. Right, so this domino contains an odd and an even number, because that's the only way you can make 2 digits add up to an odd number. So there is definitely 1 even digit in that domino, which is the 4th even digit in column 2, which means all of those cells have to be, you've guessed it, orange. Let's carry on with that. Can we do better than that? What about... is this a parity line? No, this is a region sum line. So this is either... We're adding up to an even digit. So these have the same parity, which is not... Okay, that is interesting. These have the same parity in order to create evenness. But they can't be both even, because there would be 5 evens in the column. So they're both odd. which actually does very little indeed. So that's one of each. Oh yeah, no, that's useful. Right, okay. So let's focus on these green ones now. Now I think if you study column 7, I believe this is 1 even and 1 odd. I don't know the order, but yeah, we've got 3 evens and 4 odds in the column. So green is 1 of each, which you can see if we now look at the composition of box 3, we've definitely got a 3rd even digit then in one of those greens. Now this domino sums up to an even digit. So it's either double even or it's double odd. Well, it can't be double even because that's going to create 5 even digits in this box once you count the fact that one of the greens is even. So that's got to be double odd. And that means we've done all our odds in row 2. So those two become even. What does that mean for this? Yeah, that's got to be odd now. We've got to add this to an odd number. What's going on in column 3? Oh, we've got 1 of each there as well. Look. Oh, but that's going to mean we know what this is. We're quorate on blue digits. Between those 5 digits there have to have all 4 blues. So that's got to be orange in the corner, which doesn't really rhyme with me, does it? So we can't sing the song. What about over here? Yeah, I've got all my oranges, so that's blue in the corner. Still doesn't rhyme with 3. We've got we're getting there. Slowly but surely we're getting there. What were these? Was this 1 of each? 1, 2, yes, that's 1 of each. Okay, I'm going to green those in. So in this row, oh, this is 1 of each, isn't it? Okay, that's 1 of each as well. So green in a box means 1 of each parity. So I can do exactly the same there. So that's 1 of each. Oh, hang on, have I just messed this up? No, that's total nonsense what I've just done there. I couldn't see how that was working at all in the top row. Let's come back to this. That's 4 even digits. So those are in fact 2 odd digits. And now, okay, so we've sort of got an X-wing of greenliness, by which I mean I know that 1 of these is odd and 1 of these is even, but I also know that these form an X-wing of odd even now. So if this was odd, that's got to be odd, because otherwise we'd have too many odds in the top row. Now, coming down this column, we've got 4 evens. So that's 2 odds, which means this parity line at the bottom has 2 evens in it, and that means we've got all the evens in the bottom row, so we can complete that. All of those go in. Z pentomino of odd digits in box 7, so those have got to be even. And I've got 4 evens in box 8, so those have got to be odd. I've got all the odds in this row, so those have got to be even. I've got all the evens in column 9, so that's got to be odd, and that's got to be even by nori language. No, by the fact that we have to have a 4th even digit in this box. And there we go. So we're left... Oh, hang on. Now can I get these? Yeah, sorry, look. I don't know if that's been available forever, but if I was able to count efficiently, there are 5 odd digits in column 8. So that cell has got to be even, which means that cell's got to be odd. Okay, that does look right. And then those two should be determinable. Yeah, that's got to be even by the count of the column, which means this should be odd. And let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have actually almost parity coloured the grid. It's beautiful. It's very clever, actually. I was I don't know, was I slow to spot the implications of the forehead and the sort of lines coming down here? Perhaps. But I didn't find that easy to see. But it was lovely, absolutely lovely. And now all we've got to do, he says, is, well, fill in the rest of the puzzle. What's going on here? We know that this is a 1, 2, 5 line, don't we? So let's... no, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to fill in 1s, 2s and 5s. Because, well, only one of the digits, 1, 2 and 5 is even, and it's that one. So that becomes a 2. Let's get rid of the pencil marks and see if that helps us. And the answer appears to be bar humbug. No. Really? Okay. Okay, we might have to really think about how this is going to work then. What? 9. Yeah, okay. If we look at these region sum lines, each of them has a single digit total. So we can't put 9 in any of those 3 cells, because if we did, these cells would add up to a double digit number. So I think that means that 9 can only live here in box 5, which means 9 is there, sort of just doing sudoku on the orange digits. Can we do any better than that? No, maybe not. It's all going to be about the... oh, of course, a simpler way of doing this. That cell sees 1, 3, 5 and 9 by sudoku, so that is a 7, which means this is a 5. Aha! Aha! So... okay, do we know... right, this 8 total is being summed to by 2 odd digits, which are not now 1, 7, so that must be a 3, 5 pair, which means this square is a 1 or a 9, and one of these 2 squares is the other odd digit, which is 1 or 9. That 5 is giving me a 1 here and a 5 here by sudoku. These squares are 4s, 6s and 8s. I don't know why. Oh, well actually, I was about to say I don't know why I'm filling that in, but maybe that's not such a bad idea. Because I'm wondering which of these, where the 7 is, I suppose. If that's 7, that has to be a 2 because it's even. And that would be a 9, which it cannot be. So the 7 is on this side of this box. And it's being... so it must be a 1, 7 pair in order to be a single digit total. So that becomes an 8. And that means the 8 in this box is in one of those 2 squares. Again, if the 8 is on the region sum line, this is going to be a 9. So the 8 is not on the region sum line. The 8 must live right down there, which means that's an 8 by sudoku. This is a 3 by sudoku because it's the last odd digit that we're allowed to put in. So these are 2s, 4s and 6s. I am going to pencil mark them. That's not 2. So, and again, okay, this 9 is proving very powerful, isn't it? If that's a 6, that becomes a 9. So that's got to be a 4 with a 7, which gives me my 7 and gives me my 1. And now that 4 is giving me a 6 and giving me a 4 here. And we can... these 2 squares are a 1, 3 pair. So 5 must live here in the box. That's not on a region sum line, which is probably a good thing. Okay, and the 4 here is moving itself out of this square and this square. So we get... okay, so this is 2 or 6. It's all going to be, I think the only thing that we need to focus on is region sum lines. Yeah, okay, that 8 can't be 1, 7 or 2, 6, so that's 3, 5. Oh, I see, and we get 3, 5 dominoes sort of cascading down columns 8, 9 and 7. 1, 2, 4, 9. So that digit is a 2 or a 4 by sudoku. Given that it's got to be even. Oh, no, look. Those 2 digits are 4 and 6. That's simpler, isn't it? Let's just fill in. Let's do the obvious things. So that becomes a 2. That becomes an 8 by sudoku. There's an 8 up there. Can that be 8? No, because then it couldn't add up to 7. So 8 goes at the top. 8 in that box can only go in that position. So I want to say all the 8s are done. And No, they're not. They are nearly done. They are now done. There we go. That's got to be 4. That's got to be 6. Just doing sudoku on evens. So that's a 2 in the corner. This is a 6 in the corner. And there's a 4 in one of those 2 squares. Which is nearly interesting. What about... We can almost look. Oh, this 2 is just looking up. I never see the black given digits because I'm so not used to having them. Okay, so those 2 squares are 4 and 6, which doesn't seem to be resolved. These 2 squares have to add up to 7. Now, can we do that? They are, yeah, they're obviously odd and even parity. That's not going to be changed by anything. So they're either 3, 4. 1, 6, I was about to say was impossible, but no, maybe it isn't. Or 2, 5. Okay, I don't think we can do that. Alright, so how do we resolve this? These 2 squares are a 2, 6 pair, aren't they? So let's do that. So 4 either here or here. Both seem to be possible. Oh, look. No, that's not even true. Oh, no, but that is a bit true. That 4 is locking itself out of here, which means there is a vertical 4 in column 3, which does look down at that cell. 6 and 4 go into the grid. This is now not... we could have seen that before. That's not a 3, 4 pair. 4 lives in one of those squares. It lives here by sudoku. So these are 2 and 6, which we can do. Okay. So now in this column, that's become a 2. That's become a 6. That's become a 2. Oh, and if that's a 6, that's a 1, 6 pair. There we go. 1 has to go there. Look at that. By sudoku, that's the only place a 1 can go. Which means this is a 4, 9 pair in green. Which means that square's got to be a 7. This is a 1, 9 pair at the bottom of column 9. Therefore, that's got to be a 7. Let's try and chase some 7s around the grid. Is that, yeah, that's not bad. That becomes a 7. That becomes a 7. Oh, that's beautiful, actually. Hang on, have I just... Yes, so chasing 7s is a good thing to do. That definitely helped. This 1 is giving me the 1, 3 here. So now in this column, look, we need to put 9 and 5 in, which we don't seem to be able to do. But that means these squares have got to be 1 and 3, which we can do. 3, 1. So that becomes a 3. That becomes a 3. That becomes a 5. This, oh, that's still fine. That's a 4 or a 9. I still don't know what the parity of it is. Okay, all right, let's try this row then. 5 and 9. I'm absolutely certain I'm missing something there. How can I not see what that is? I don't know. All right, let's have a look instead at this 1 in the corner. That's going to maybe lead to some joy. 9, 5 go in here. That's got to be a 3 completing this column. We need 1, 5 and 9. So that's got to be 5. That's got to be 1. That's got to be 9. That's got to be 5. That's got to be 9. That's got to be 4. So remember, this is now an even digit. So we actually get, it actually turned into an X-wing on 4s. That's going to be a 5. That's a 3. That's a 5. And these 2 squares have got to be a 9 and a 3. Does that look right? I think it does. Okay, so let's correct the colour of those 2 digits, correct the colour of those 2 digits, click, tick, yay. We did it. We did it. That was absolutely brilliant. What? I'm sort of stunned by the opening break in there. That was really, really lovely. And hard at least for me to spot. I'm going to be fascinated to see if people in the comments go, Simon was really slow to get the break in here because I just did this and that and it was completely obvious how the logic should flow. To me that was not obvious, and I'm a bit cross with my brain that it couldn't see more quickly how these lines interacted with these blue dominoes. But once you get a handle on it, what was really clever is just getting the parity of those two digits, realising that they had to be, I can't remember what colour it was that we made those, but that allowed us to colour the rest of these lines in, and then we could use that to sort of find out enough about the puzzle that in the end, I think it was this column, wasn't it, that determined what yellow and green, what their true nature was, and they turned out to be orange and blue after all. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Look forward to the comments. Enjoy them, especially when they're kind. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.